Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us today for the Small Business Boot Camp. I am Robert Theobald, Small Business Ombudsman and Vice President of Small Business Services here at the Arizona Commerce Authority, and we're glad to have you with us today. As we like to do, and we got some people that already jumped in and got started, we'd like everybody to post in the chat where you're tuning in from. We like to hear where we got people tuned in from, and we've already got Francisca from Levine, and we have Erica tuning in from Montreal, Canada. So we've got an international audience already. So again, post up in the chat where you're tuning in from. All right, we got Payson, Goodyear, Gilbert, Chandler, MP, Michael from Edmonton. All right, Oilers. Goodyear, Scottsdale. All right, we've got Donna working remotely in Kansas today. Another Gilbert, Casa Grande, Sun City. All right, continue posting up. We love to see where you're tuning in from. We got Tucson. And while you guys continue to post up, we will go ahead and jump right in. As we like to do, we like to thank all of our community partners for their time, their effort, and their expertise. We could not do these boot camps without them. And we appreciate all of them because they give back to their time and their expertise willingly to help small businesses throughout the state. Those that are new to the boot camp is designed to help small businesses prepare, plan, and grow. And we do that through our weekly webinar every Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. And then we also do workshops and other webinars, lunch and learns, and so forth to help bring the education to small business owners. One key part of the boot camp is the small business content library. So all of our webinars and our virtual workshops, we record them and we share the information here, the recordings and the slide decks in the content library, and they're available to you at any time through this website. And so it's a great resource. There's over 300 recorded webinars that you can access at any time. And so it is a great secondary piece of the boot camp that we love to share and talk about. The ACA also has a number of other programs to help support small businesses. You can find out more information about these and other programs that help support business in general at azcommerce.com/program. One program we like to talk about with this audience is the Small Business Checklist. And this is an online interactive resource that helps entrepreneurs, business owners, those looking to start a business, those looking to expand their business, identify commonly requested licensing, registration, and compliance information and requirements at the local, state, and federal levels. You can also find additional business information in that checklist. It is an amazing resource. There's a ton of information in the physical checklist as you dig in. And for quick information, you can find our virtual assistant on there, Sally, for that kind of quick fast food type version of information. But Sally is a great resource, and so is the deep dive into the checklist. And you can go straight to it by scanning that QR code on your screen. Some quick updates we'd like to share also is tomorrow is the Score Greater Phoenix workshop at Burton Bar Library, and it's how to start a food truck is tomorrow. And then on June 1st, you have the ABCs of starting a business. And if you go to their website, they have other upcoming events as well. These are in-person events at Burton Bar. Score does both in-person and virtual, and they are a great partner of ours. We are working with them on a women's conference workshop in September, and more information will be coming out about that soon. And then the Downtown Phoenix Small Business Innovation Summit presented by ASU will take place on May 28th from 5 to 7 p.m. in the evening. It is an in-person event. And we will post in the chat links to both of these workshops and the Innovation Summit. So if you're interested, you can find out more information and register through those links. So real quick, some upcoming information. As I mentioned earlier, we do the webinars every Tuesday morning at 9 a.m., except after some key holidays. So for example, next Tuesday, we will not have a session as this coming weekend, it is Memorial Day weekend. A lot of people are out traveling and a lot of small business owners are out doing stuff, and you'll have a lot of work coming back on Tuesday morning. So we want you to be able to focus on your work as you get back next week. So we'll pick back up again on June 4th with a great presentation on no-cost business resources with our friends at the SBDC, SCORE, and the Women's Business Centers. And then on June 11th, we will talk about capital readiness, navigating your path to loan approval, and then we'll follow that up with actionable ways to maximize your email marketing and marketing automation program. We've got a lot of great sessions beyond these three already set up, and you can register for those on our website. But these are just the next three. With that, we want to jump into today's session. We have one of our great speakers who's been on with us many times before. He's a great partner of ours, Brett Gilliland, and he's the founder and CEO of Elite Entrepreneurs. And his company focuses or specializes in helping businesses over $1 million to get to that $10 million range and above. But a lot of the concepts that we share in today will help smaller business also reach their growth goals. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen and turn it over to Brett.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, Robert. It's such a pleasure to be with the ACA doing this boot camp again. As Robert mentioned, I've done this a few times, and it really is a highlight. I love being with business owners who are trying to grow their business. As he mentioned, I focus most of my time and attention on businesses that are at 7 figures, trying to help them scale. But not to worry, if you're not at $1 million yet, that's fine. Everything I'm going to share with you today is going to be relevant, whether you're just getting started or you've got something going. And I'm just excited to spend the time with you guys today. So let me get my screen sharing going, get into slideshow mode, and we'll get rolling. You'll find that I'm going to go through a lot of stuff. I can hardly help myself. I usually bring too much content. Today might be like that. But if you'll just hang on with me in the beginning, we'll get through some important context, and then we'll get to the meat, the sharing that is really going to help you. So don't lose patience here at the beginning. We just got to set the stage appropriately so that the learning is meaningful. So we'll get to the learning. Let me set the stage. So how many of you, if you could in the chat, relate to me, whether you can sort of resonate with this idea of being exhausted and uncertain versus energized and unstoppable. So if you're feeling more exhausted and uncertain, or you're feeling that way more often than you are feeling energized and unstoppable, if you would just put yes in the chat, then I'll know if that feeling is familiar to you. Exhausted and uncertain versus energized and unstoppable. How many of you are feeling a little bit that exhaustion, that uncertainty? Thank you for those of you who are chiming in, both. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, insanity sometimes. Love that comment. Thank you, Michael. Yeah, so I've worked with hundreds of business owners over many, many, many years, and it is not uncommon for me to be around people who feel a little bit like, you know what, I'm starting to feel a little exhausted, or at least at times feeling a little uncertain. Erica, congratulations on feeling energized and unstoppable. That is great. And I hope that you feel that way all the time. Okay, so my next little participation thing is a fill in the blank. So I'd love to know if you happen to know, great, you can show your knowledge right now. For the rest of us, we'll guess at this number. What % of businesses never grow to $1 million in revenue? What do you guys think? Just throw it in the chat. It's a quick number. Okay, Michael comes in at 90%, 30, 99, 80, 80. Okay, I see the numbers coming in. I want you guys to come up with your answer here. I'm about to reveal here. It's actually about 95%. So not looking to discourage anyone here, but roughly 95% of you would never get to 1 million if you represented the full sample of businesses that ever got started in the US. So not to be discouraging, it just is that way. And those who do get there often find themselves in a world of pain. If any of these feelings resonate for you, I'd love for you to type in the chat which of these feelings, I'm just going to slowly animate them, resonate most with you. I'm not going to read them to you. You guys can all read, but I'm just animating them slowly here on the slide. Any of these feelings, any of these ideas resonate for you? Yeah, Robert, and burnt out. Yeah, I don't know how long you've been at this, Robert, but that's a common feeling, and burned out. Thank you. I see all the great responses coming in. Control freak, Heather. Sometimes it takes a bit, a mature person to admit that I'm a bit of a control freak. I think I have some of that in me as well. Can be reactive. I see a lot of that. Small results, just unhappy with the results you're getting. Ross, that might be the most accurate or honest answer today. All of the above. Yeah. Okay. So these are at least familiar with many of you. Thank you again for the participation. I wish I could see you and talk with you in person. That's my preference. But given the setup here, the chat really helps me stay connected with you. So thanks for participating. All right. So for those who do get to 1 million, these are often the things that they start to experience, and they turn outward for help. They start looking for help. So I'd love for you guys to list your favorite book that you see up here, or maybe one that you don't see up here. But these are the types of books out there, and you've seen all of these and more that are attempting to give you solutions to all of those problems. And by the way, I've read many of these books. It's super helpful. Yep, and I see in the chat, we're starting already to see the responses. Thank you, Michael. Traction is a good one, especially for people who are trying to organize their operations, where the operations are getting more complex. We got bigger teams, and we're starting to have a hard time taking targeted, coordinated action as one team around the day-to-day getting and serving of clients. That is a good one. All right, I can't review all these books today, but these are some of the books you would find if you're looking for help to how to grow your business. Let's turn to another source. We have experts. Okay, so here you might look for a business coach, an accountant, marketing agency, industry insider, Six Sigma black belt, SEO, and the list goes on, right? So there's all these different people out there also trying to help you grow your business. And what we find is that between the pains that you're feeling, or the frustrations you're having, the burned out you're experiencing, all of the great books that are out there and the expertise that you could access, it just gets pretty complicated pretty fast. And so I don't do this to depress you. I do this to just empathize a little bit. I know it's hard to grow your business, and I know it's hard to sometimes figure out where to turn for that help. So I'm going to give you some keys today that will, I hope, bring you some light at the end of the tunnel, some additional ideas, some ways of working through all these challenges that you're facing. So here's what I would like to have as our agreement. You can choose to put in the chat if you are a yes or not on this agreement, or you can just, withhold your comment. But I hope that you will be present for what I share. I will teach you the keys to growth. That part you can count on me to deliver. My commitment is I'll teach you the keys to growth. You are going to implement what makes sense for you. I'll offer to make it easier and faster to implement. And then you'll decide what's best for you to move forward. So your keys, you see the U's, you see the I's. You'll be present. You'll implement what makes sense to you, and you'll decide what's best for you to move forward, whether or not that includes help from me. I'm going to teach you some keys to growth, and I'll offer to make it easier and faster for you to implement. Okay, different version of the overwhelm that we sometimes feel as we carry the weight of the business on our backs. I remember the day I I started my business, but it was within the safety of another larger business. Some of you might know the Infusionsoft story here in town. It's been a long time now that story's been underway. In about 2018, 2019, they rebranded to Keep, K-E-A-P. It's small business automation software. It's a great company. I'm still a good friend with the CEO over there. His name is Clayton Mask. But Clay and I used to work there, and I helped them grow from 7 figures in revenue to 100 million. And Clay and I started my elite entrepreneurs business there inside of that company. And I didn't feel the weight of it then, because we were building this little training and coaching business to help other businesses scale, but it was within a larger business. So here we had $100 million software company, and we built this $1.5 million training and coaching business. Very, very safe harbor. It was low risk, and it was just part of our community of small businesses that we were serving with software. We're also taking advantage of this little service that we provided to train and coach around scaling. There's a lot of setup, but on February 1st, 2018, I signed an agreement to purchase the training and coaching business, what is now Elite Entrepreneurs, what is now my business entirely. I purchased it from Keep, okay? So I bought it and we spun it out. And that day, I kid you not, that day, I felt the weight of that business on my shoulders, just like overnight. Now, like I said, I was involved with that business's inception, and I had helped grown it to a $1.5 million business inside of this $100 million software company. But I never felt the weight of ownership until I bought it and we spun it out, and then I immediately felt the weight of it. And so I guess I say that to honor all of you who started it from scratch out in the wild versus the safe harbor of another company, the way that I started my business. And when I felt that, when we were put out into the open waters, when I bought that business, I felt the weight of that immensely. And I was like, wow, I knew this was a thing. I'd been serving business owners for years, and I knew that the weight was heavy, but I didn't really fully appreciate it until I felt that weight myself. So I just wanted to share that story. I don't know if you guys like this picture, but I like just how big that bag is. They're like, yeah, that's how it feels. It's a big thing that we're carrying around with our businesses. All right, here we go. We're going to start getting into out in the wild. You like that, Aurelius? I appreciate that. What got you here won't get you there is a very famous quote by an amazing coach named Marshall Goldsmith. And I'm going to share with you now what we call the stages of small business. You'll see that company Keep mentioned here. This is their intellectual property. I use it with permission because I was there when it was developed, and this perfectly sets up the conversation that all of you should be thinking about all the time as business owners. How do I get my business to the next level? Okay, so each of these stages is listed out here. I can't go through each one, but if you want a copy of this stages, if you want a PDF version of this, and you want some video of Clayt, or I can't remember, I think it's still Clayt teaching the stages, I've got a video of that. And all you have to do is text the word grow to this number, 480-900-1505. And Faith, if I could trouble you, maybe you could throw that number in the chat, because I'm going to come off of this slide and I want people to be able to do that still. So if they would text the word grow to 480-900-1505, then they will have access to it, even though I'm off the slide. Okay, I'm going to go to the next slide now. So there's this pattern on the 1s and 3s of revenue. Thank you, Faith. On the 1s and 3s of revenue, you see there's a stage change, okay? And Faith is going to help me with a little poll question here. I'm not going to talk about solopreneurs, but you'll see the poll question come up. They're on the 1s and 3s of revenue. So up to 100,000, from 100,000 to 300,000, 300,000 to 1 million, and so on, 1 to 3, 3 to 10. So if you would answer the poll, try to get a sense for where you're at, because then I can try to tailor my comments to you more appropriately. Robert mentioned early on, and I reaffirmed that my expertise in scaling businesses is in this 7-figure range, this 1 to 3 and 3 to 10. I don't imagine most of you are there, and it's okay that you're not. What I imagine is that most of you are in this 100 to 300,000 or 300,000 to $1 million. But I don't want to assume. So if you could just answer the poll question, then we could all see the response on that. So Faith, I'm attempting. Oh, I know. I was like, I tried to vote, and it gave me the answer. Host and panelists cannot vote. Okay. So where do I get to see the poll results, Faith? How does that happen? There we go. Here we go. All right, cool. So many of you are still working towards that first 100,000, solopreneur land, side hustle, whatever you guys call that. Totally honor and respect each of these stages. A few of you are in that 1 to 300,000, some are 300,000 to $1 million, and a fair number of you, actually, congratulations, are in that $1 million plus. Okay, for those of you who are approaching $1 million or over $1 million, I'm gonna invite you to connect with me at the end of this call. I have even more help for you. For everyone else, don't worry, the session's still going to be valuable. We're going to get into tips for how you work on your business, not just in it, and it's going to be applicable to everyone. Okay, that was a fun poll. Thanks, guys, for humoring me on that. All right, so I have a fun activity for you here in the chat. I wish I could hand you a book or something. I can't do that, but I can give you I can give you a virtual gold star. The first person to unscramble this word is going to get the virtual gold star. Oh, Robert's all over it. Robert Mills got reactive. That's one of the words. Actually, there's a second one. Thank you, Francisca. There's a second one that is similar but different than reactive. Similar because they share the same letters. There it is. Terry got it. So did Robert. You both did. You guys are so fast at this. Okay, that's it. Creative and reactive. So reactive versus creative. If I had you just respond with, type in if I said, hey, what is the opposite of reactive? What would be the first thing that pops into your mind? You guys could just type that up. By the way, I'm loving the interactive nature here. Terry, very good. Proactive. I think we've all been taught that, and I think there's a lot of truth to that. But think about what proactive is really like. Proactive is saying, I know something's coming, and I want to get ready to react now. I want to react ahead of time. That's proactive, and there's nothing wrong with proactive. But what I want to suggest to you today is that I think reactive, the real opposite of reactive, is creative. I don't want to just react to what the world offers me. I want to create something. And so you'll see that the same letters are used to spell reactive as to create the word creative. Same letters. The only difference being the location of that letter C. And this is going to get a little corny. If you guys can help me out with my corniness a little bit. If I move the C from the front of creative and just move it into the middle of the word, you get reactive. Now, here's the corny part about that. Here's the corny part. The corny part is those who see clearly, who have clear visions, are in a much better place to create. You know what you're going to do, so you create it. If you lose your ability to see because of the chaos of your business, you get very reactive. So if the C gets lost because of all the chaos in your business, you get very reactive. But if you pull that out and intentionally work on your business from time to time, you will be in a much better place to create. All right. So the nice thing about this virtual thing is that I don't get to see the sneers or the skeptical looks on your face, or hear the laughter or the, oh my gosh, groans from some of that silliness. But it's true. If I want to start helping a business owner be more successful in growing their business, the very first thing I do is I help them to move from being reactive to creative. So that's what I'm going to share with you guys today. All right. Does this picture look like reactive or creative? This is a fun picture. Anybody ever experienced this where you're at the beach having some fun and then big wave hits you and you lose all control? Okay. Sinead says this is creative. I think this guy's in zero position to create. Now, it might have been creative to like jump into the mix here, but I think he's in full-on reactive mode. This wave, the power of this wave, the force of this wave has him reacting. There's no creation left in him. Now, I want to show you another picture that has the same power, same force, but a very different outcome, very different position for the person involved. Do you see this? To me, this is more creative, not reacting at all, creating. He's using the force of that wave to create something versus the previous guy who's like, in a second here, his world is upside down. He doesn't even know which way he's turned. Okay, so creative, this is reactive, this is creative, same force. So I'm suggesting to you today that the force of your business, that wave that just keeps coming, just keeps knocking you over, and you're trying to get up and clear your eyes out and get that out of your mouth and your ears, and by the time you recover, the next wave has hit you. That same force can be a creative force, and you can get on top of it and do amazing things with it. So that's what I'm inviting you to think about today. But you have to become the leader of your business, not just the person who expertly runs it or who frantically responds to it. Okay, that's what I'm here to share with you today. All right, there's 2 changes you have to make in your business if you want to create more than react. Change number 1 is you have to do some things structurally in your business. And on the left, we have what we call our elite growth method, but there's some structure to it. You got to set some vision, you got to put some meeting rhythms in place. You have to acknowledge that there's a working in the business operational side of your business, and there's a working on the business strategic side of your business. And you should spend about 80% of your time, energy, resources on in the business delivering today's results. And you should spend about 20% of your collective time, energy, resources working on the business. But this is our view of that structure of the business and how you organize work and get it done. On the right, there are some leadership, we call it, excuse me, this is our elite leadership model. And there are some things you have to know, that your job is to set the vision, build the team, and make sure that we have the resources or deliver results for the business. So two changes in the business and in yourself if you want to get more creative in your business and work on it more, not just in it. I want to tell you about a good friend of mine. This is an Arizona business owner who I met back in 2007, if you can believe that. And Rod he represents what I would characterize a typical business owner. He was constantly pulled into the business, classic technician. If you know Michael Gerber's E-Myth, you'll know this language of technician, manager, and entrepreneur. Those are the 3 hats or 3 roles. And he's a classic technician. He knew the ins and outs of the service that they provided. He was a technical genius. He managed his finances by looking at the bank account and the credit card balances every day. If you can relate to that, I'm sorry. That gets to be a very stressful situation when you manage your finances that way every day, looking at that. No vision to direct decisions and align resources, no financial modeling or forecasting, always struggling with people and customer issues, trying to keep up with payables and fund payroll. How many of you can relate with the idea of Rod as, I'm a technician, I'm an integral part of getting and serving the clients every day. Robert says, it's me. I'm sorry, Robert. But I'm not, because there's a way forward, and we all have to figure this out. All reactive, no creative is who Rod was when I met him. So we got to work. We started doing some things like set the vision, getting the resources, tried to help them get more intentional about creating the future, help them navigate a sticky partner issue and a rough client relationship problem. And then worked on getting the right team or building the team. So these were some of the things that we did. And I hope as you look at this list, you'll see things that feel more like working on the business, less working in the business. And that's the magic, right? Work on the business, not in the business. Okay. Can anyone guess what the recurring challenge was as I worked with Rod, as I set it up? And I know I went fast, but just humor me here for a second. What are some of your guesses about the recurring challenge in working with a reactive technician? Jeff, I still have some things coming for you, I promise. Letting go of control is a good one. Doesn't want to give up control. Daily fires are more important. Yes. Rod kept getting sucked back into the business, constantly pulled back. And you can call that control issues, daily fires, boundaries. I love that ad, Heather. Yeah, he just kept getting pulled back. And it's really hard to move forward with your business when you're stuck in it. And at first, you have to be in it. We all have to be in it. That's how it starts. And we learn and we do. We're learning everything, we're doing everything. And that's completely understandable. That's completely normal. But as we're learning and doing, we have to learn how to break out cycles to work on the business, or we'll get stuck in the learning and doing mode the whole time. Some of you are feeling that. And I even, I heard, or not poor, but I appreciate you saying, Jeff, I need the kindergarten version of this. I hope that's not speaking to the way I'm presenting it. It's just, it's bigger business stuff maybe, but the principles that I'm about to share with you will apply. So hang with me a little bit longer. It starts with this, Jeff. Here's the kindergarten version. I needed to keep this so simple for Rod. I said, Rod, I have a gift for you. And I bought him a chess clock. This is a chess clock. Some of you have never seen a chess clock, and that's okay. It's really simple to understand. The one player, both players get an allocated amount of time for the whole game, okay? It might be 5 minutes if it's fast. It might be 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever. At the start of the game, the match or the tournament, everybody knows how much time each player is going to get for that match. But while it's their turn, they're on the clock. So if my opponent goes and that's my turn, my opponent hits his button and that that starts my clock. And so my clock is started. And if I sit there forever and think, I run out of time and I lose the game. So I bought this chess clock, but when I take my turn, I hit my button and now the clock starts on the other side. So I bought this chess clock as a visual for Rod, that one clock represented working on his business, one clock represented working in his business. So for Jeff, who feels like he needs the kindergarten version, all I want you to start thinking about is, how do I separate my mind and my time between the necessary work that I have to do to get and serve clients, or get and serve customers, or get and serve patients, or whoever you're helping to get dollars, right? How do I start making a separation in my mind between the work that I do to get and serve customers and the work that I do to develop or build my business, to work on my business versus working in my business? And most of us get sucked into working in the business 100% of our time. And that's not a bad thing. At first, that is the thing that's required. However, if you always work 100% in your business, you'll never be able to do the business capability building work that must happen if you want to move forward. Early on, that business building work might look like learning how to sell better. Okay, notice the difference. Selling is working in the business. Improving your sales capacity, your sales capability, would be working on the business. And that might be very appropriate, Jeff, at the stage you're in. Got to learn how to sell better. Like, I know my thing. I know how to deliver this service. I'm an expert at X. I have this great product. Okay, great. You have that thing. So you got to learn how to sell that thing. You got to learn how to sell it better. And so learning how to sell it better would be working. It sounds like working on yourself, but early on, that's working on the business. Working on your ability to sell is working on the business. That's improving overall capability. Going out and selling is working in the business. So hopefully that's a clear distinction. As you learn how to sell, you're like, okay, next thing, I need to learn how to generate consistent leads. If you're in that 300,000 to $1 million range, that's going to be a key hurdle for you, a key success factor. If you go back to that stages document, you got to learn how to consistently develop leads or generate leads, and then you got to fulfill at a little higher scale. So you can't just deliver one at a time. Now, maybe you have to deliver across multiple clients, and you're building a team. So the distinction here is, one side of the clock is working in the business. It's all the day-to-day, delivering the operations, the results today, getting and serving customers today, versus working on the business is improving our ability to do those things in the future. We're going to get and serve clients in the future, but we're going to do that at a higher level. So how do we develop systems and processes? How do we develop new capabilities in ourselves or others? How do we hire people? How do we do planning, our meeting rhythms? Okay, all of that would be working on the business. All right, I hope this is helping. Let me do a little check-in here. We're almost 2/3 through our time, and I'm about to show you exactly. I'm going to give you 3 simple things to do to work on your business. But so far, is this helpful? Can you guys give me a little indication if we're hitting the mark, not hitting the mark, somewhere in between? Can we get a little response here? And Heather, I see your comment. This is hard to do. It is hard. Thank you, Donna, Robert. Appreciate you guys. Oh yeah, how many years does someone work on the business at the start? Aurelia, that's a really great question. Aurelis, really great question. I would say it depends, right? It depends on how quickly you learn the keys at each stage. Early on, it's really hard to get off the ground if you can't make any sales. So early on, you got to figure out that product market fit. Does the service that I have or the product that I have fit a market need, and what will they pay for it? And can I get them to pay for it? Like, that's what you're trying to figure out right at the beginning. Some people figure that out in the first 12 months. Other people take a few years to get that done. So I can't give a one size fits all answer to that, but I hope that's a little helpful. And I appreciate all the rest of you who are chiming in. This is so good. Okay, here we go. 3 keys to working on the business and not just in it. Buckle up for this stuff, you guys. First, inventory how you spend your time. And I hope I'm saying this right. Arelis, okay, maybe for Velasquez. I'm a wannabe Spanish speaker. I lived in Mexico for a couple of years, so I'm gonna pronounce it that way. Arelis. Inventory how you spend your time. If you guys will start looking at in 15-minute increments, 30 minutes, if 15 minutes is way too mind-numbing for you or like too many details, but if you'll just track your time, much like you would track your spending, if you're doing a financial budget, you would track every penny where it went, right? That's how you budget. That's how you know where your money's going. Same thing with your time. This is the most valuable resource that you have right now as a business owner, is where am I spending my time? So you got to track it for at least 2 weeks to account for any anomalies. I would encourage you to track it for 3 or 4 weeks, just to give you a really clear picture, high level, where am I spending my time every day? Okay. And I would include things like sleep, eat, entertainment, all like the full 24 hours. During your workday, I want you to track that in 15 to 30 minute increments, like every little chunk of time. Where's it going? Where's it going? Where's it going? The reason I want you to do this is when you start to see clearly where all the time is going, you will see some opportunities for change. You will see areas where you want to invest less time and areas where you want to invest more time. And you will be able to choose more clearly, oh, I want to take some of the time I'm spending on, I don't know, meal preparation, and I want to start sending more LinkedIn invites or more, or I want to, watch a sales training or whatever. So if you can see where the time is going, then you can make choices about how to change that. All right, next. So that's key number 1. How will you spend your time? How do you spend your time? Track it, and then you make intentional decisions about how you're going to work on the business more than just in it. Okay? But the first thing is just track where it's going. All right, the second key to working on the business more, not just in it, is to align work to the vision. Now, this makes a huge assumption that you've created a vision. And if you haven't, that's okay. I'm not here to like guilt trip you or make you feel bad. This is a no embarrassed zone. You have no reason to be embarrassed. You've started a business, you're doing something you really want to do. That is so commendable. I'm proud of you. You're doing it. But if you haven't set a clear vision about what the future thing is that you're creating, it's really hard to align all your work to it. Okay? And I don't mean just your work. I mean your work and anybody else on the team. We got to align all our efforts towards one singular vision. And that vision should consist of the purpose or the why of your business. It should consist of the values or how we operate with one another on this team. And it should consist of the very specific objective or the destination-oriented mission that we're up to next. For example, we want to achieve X result or accomplish X by the end of 2026. I'm just making that up, right? So a very specific what by when, that is a clear mission. So setting a vision is purpose, values, and mission. And when you get clear on those three things, now we can align all our efforts towards that intentionality. You're going to be more creative when you have an intention, something that we have decided we're going to go do. Now we can create towards that intention versus the spaghetti with all the arrows here. All the effort in all these different directions is just reacting. So we're back to the creative versus the reactive. And it starts with intention. You have to have a vision. So can I get a yes if you have done the work of getting clear on your vision? And can I get a no if you've done some work or no work? Maybe the work you've done, you knew at one point you should have values, you should have a vision, but it doesn't really drive your day-to-day decision making. So yes, if you have good vision, no, if you don't. Okay, great. Congratulations, by the way, on those of you who do have good vision. And no shame for those who don't, and good job being very upfront here with that. I would challenge you, if you have not done this work, to let your first personal offsite be, and it might be on a weekend, right? It might be a couple hours on a weekend or an early morning one day, to just sit in a quiet place and to start getting clear about that future. And this goes a little bit beyond like visualization and affirmation. It's related to that, but I just want you to get as clear as possible about the thing that you're creating, because once you do, now you can align all of your effort toward it.
Hey, Brett, real quick, for those that don't have a vision, we have talked about it in the past. So if you need a webinar to help you with that, we have one. And if you ping me, I'll send you a link to that so you don't have to dig through the content library.
Perfect. Okay. And Robert has so many resources, guys. The ACA has really gone over, has really done a huge job, a great job of creating all sorts of resources. And like I said, I've been on those calls in the past. I've presented multiple times. I'm just impressed. They have hundreds of resources for you. Anyway, Robert has something. Because I do this work, we have something at Elite that would be happy to pass on to you as well. Okay, great. So we have to know where our time is going, get more intentional about that, and we have to align all of our work towards towards the vision that we've set. The third key for you is to get the right people involved. And some of you are like, man, I'd love to have more people. I can't afford to hire people. I get that. You're not going to hire people faster than you can afford it. But you can start with little pieces of work that you can start to give to contractors or VAs or even your kids. Like I have high school kids and college age kids, and sometimes I can get them involved to do little tasks. For a while, I had my high school graduate starting college daughter. She would do some of my bookkeeping for me. I would have her categorize expenses. I had to teach her how to do it, but I'd have her go into QuickBooks and start categorizing things. Anything I could do to get work off my plate so I could do more working on the business. So you have to know where your time is going. You have to get really clear. You have to get clear about the vision and align your work to it. And then you got to get the right people involved to make it happen. Those are the three keys. Here are some practical ways. This is a lot of content. If you want to take a screenshot, please do that, or get out your phone. But some people, and the reason I put this slide, some people are like, yeah, I love the concept of working on my business. And then they work really hard to carve out like an hour on a Friday morning to work on their business. And then they're like, okay, now what do I do? What does it really look like to work on my business? And so I just wanted to give you some very practical ideas here. There's lots of other ideas. You guys could give each other ideas in the chat. In fact, I'd love for that to be the case. What's one of the best things that you do to work on your business instead of in it? And please don't tell me I like knocked through my to-do checklist. That is not working on your business. That might be working on your mental health, your sanity, right? Getting a lot of work done, but that is not working on your business. So if you're like, I carved out time and then I cleaned out my inbox. Okay, that feels good, but that's not working on your business. So what are some of the things that you guys do, activities that you do to work on your business that might help somebody else who's attending? I've listed a bunch of stuff here. You guys can read through it. You can capture it. But what are you guys doing different from this that works on the business? I don't see anybody yet. Okay, here we go. Monthly check-in with people I service. Love it. You're getting information from your clients, right? From the market, so that you can make adjustments in your business. Constantly looking for opportunities to grow. Sweet. Feedback, coffee chats, webinars like this. Yes. Thank you for saying that, Chelsea. This is exactly what it looks like to work on your business. You're learning and growing. That's working on your business. Good. Learning, designing systems to set up teardowns at events or faster. Awesome. Okay. You guys, these are great ideas. So most of us struggle to make the time, but if you make the time and you don't know what to do to make your business better, there are lots of ideas, some here that I shared and some from the other attendees of this session. All right, I'm going to go to the next slide. I mentioned Clayton Mask, co-founder and CEO of a business that grew to $100 million in revenue. That's a sizable business. I think that was bigger than I didn't even have a poll question that was higher than 10 million. But anyway, the point is, this guy knows what he's doing, and I had a front row seat to it. I was his right-hand person for 10 years. And what I learned as I watched Clayton masterfully do this working on the business stuff is that he had to constantly relinquish control. So he was learning what it looked like to be a leader of a team. And then he had to let go of that to others and hire other leaders. And then he learned how to be leaders of leaders at 3 and 10 million. And then he learned how to be a leader of leaders, right? So it just kept changing. And the only way it could change is for him to take the work he had been doing and give it to somebody else so that he could step up to the next level of value, right? All of us are operating at a certain level of value creation in the business. We might be doing $10 an hour work sometimes when we could be doing $100 an hour work. And when we finally get to the place where we're doing $100 an hour work, we need to organize that work and then relinquish that control to somebody else. So we can start doing $1,000 an hour work, right? And I'm using easy math, 10, 100,000 to make the point. But we got to keep leveling up. And the only way to do that is if we'll work on our business so we stop doing all the things. And we can't stop it all at once. So we break out little chunks of time and we start increasing our ability to add value at a higher level. And then we start bringing on other people a little bit at a time to take some of those lower dollar an hour tasks so that we can work on higher dollar an hour things. Okay, I want to honor what you guys have built. In no way, shape, or form have I wanted to have you feeling like, man, what I've built is insignificant, or I'm on the struggle bus, or whatever, right? Like, I don't want that at all. You guys you're doing it. There are a lot of people out there who just go punch a clock for somebody else. They wish that they would have enough guts to do what you guys are doing. So I want to commend you for that. And then I want to say, there's a better way. You don't have to bang your head on that wall over and over again. There are resources, there are helps to help you get through some of these stage changes faster. John Maxwell is a famous leadership guru, coach, and this quote I love: your business will never outgrow you. And some of you, when I asked the question, what are you doing to work on your business, in the chat, you said, I'm here learning. I'm learning. As you grow yourself, your business can grow. And so I commend you for taking the time here today, and I encourage you to continue on a pattern of learning, growing. But then you have to apply. You cannot get stuck in the doing of what you already know. You have to apply this new stuff. And so today, I've taught you some things about how to start breaking out of the day-to-day to work on your business more. You inventory your time, right? Don't forget that. You inventory your time. You start to get really clear on that vision. And if you're already clear on it, great. Then you align all of your work and your time spent towards that vision. You will see that even companies with great vision sometimes align their resources, spend their time, spend their money on things that don't line up to the vision that they've set. And it's just one of the saddest things. And then, the last point was to hire the people that will help you. All right, so my desire for all of you is to spend less time on the left in the exhausted and uncertain realm, and more time on the right of the energized and unstoppable. I see Faith's reminder in the chat. There is a copy of the slides and today's presentation. You guys can get access to that stuff. You must change in the business, and you must change in yourself if you want to grow through each of those stages. At each stage, you master the work of that stage. You become expert at the 1 to 300,000 stage, for example, and you expertly built a business and you run it right there. But you can get stuck there if you don't do the work in the business and in yourself to go to the next stage, 300,000 to 1 million. And then when you get there, you're like, okay, I've figured out this gear now. I know what it looks like to operate this business from 300,000 to 1 million. I'm comfortable here. But then you can't go to 1 million to 3 million unless you make changes in your business and in yourself again. So every stage, you got to make changes in the business and in yourself, in the business and then yourself. And as you do that, you can keep growing. But working on the business looks like in the business and in yourself. All right. I don't want any of this chaos for all of you. We're all experiencing it to some level. It's okay, but you can overcome this. This is the wave that you're reacting to. You can overcome that and get to a place of much more creativity. All right. So for those of you who are fast approaching 1 million in annual sales, if you think you're going to break through to that mark this year, or your business is already doing 1 million or more in sales every year, I'm offering more help. I love to help you if you're doing less than that. I'm just not expert at those things. You guys have to figure out selling and marketing and how to deliver your product or service at a larger scale. Those operational things I'm not expert at. I am expert at the business development and the leadership work that you have to do when your team starts to grow and you're beyond that $1 million mark. If you would like 30 minutes with me, I'm offering that for free for you guys being here at the ACA's boot camp today. Or you can email or text me. Like, I want to make it really simple for you to even ask me, is this something for me? Okay. No cost, no obligation on that. I hope you can tell from the way I showed up today, I'm genuinely interested in helping you guys do what you're trying to do. All right. That is it. I do have one more little slide here that says the best leaders build the best businesses and the best businesses win. This is what I want for you guys. I want you guys to have best businesses that are winning. But that starts with you learning how to work on the business, work on yourself and work on the business. And so hopefully this was helpful today. Robert, I'm going to turn this back over to you. I'm open for Q&A for the next 5 minutes. If there is some Q&A in the chat, or if there's some way to get people ask.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you have a couple questions, post those in the Q&A. And while you were typing, I do want to share, if you're in that lower revenue range, there are other resources that I can help direct you to as well, for some of that one-on-one counseling. That third point that Brett mentioned of having the right people around you or working with you, it doesn't mean you have to hire them. It's having some of those key resources around you. And there are some great programs that I can direct you to that can help you have some of those key people as you help to grow your business. Also, you might look at your business and you might be, man, I'm not at $1 million. You might be providing a very good life for your family and the family of a number of employees at $600,000 in revenue. And that's good too. So don't beat yourself up if you're not at a certain level. Also look and say, hey, we are doing very well, and we are providing for the people in our lives. So keep that in mind. So we got one question in the Q&A.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and answer the question in the Q&A right now. I don't know how public those are, so I'm gonna make it anonymous here. The question is, I want to pivot to an entirely new business, but feel like a failure. How do I give myself the grace to do so? If you need somebody else to give you permission to do so, I give you permission. Right? Like let me give you some grace to this person. I would say, there might have been supporters for you all around you to start what you've started. Sometimes you can hand that off to somebody else to keep it going, but sometimes it's not where your passion is, your heart is, and it's okay to let that go. It's okay to say, that was good experience for me. That was good learning. Now I'm going to apply that learning over here that I got to a new thing that has my interest, my excitement. And if you have loved ones, especially if you have loved ones counting on you, like a significant other, a spouse, children, that can be scary. But if they see the excitement level that you have towards something different, and they see the results that start to come because you actually are going to give more, you're going to be better at something you're excited about than something you're not excited about. So I don't know if that's helpful at all. Thank you for asking the question. I'm open to answering any other questions as well. But to the person, the anonymous person who submitted that question, I would say you got to follow your heart on this stuff, and you can do it. That's what I would say.
We live in a quick story tied to that question.
Yeah.
Many of you have heard the business of Walmart, largest retailer on the planet, one of the largest companies on the planet. Sam Walton was the founder with his brother. Sam Walton lost one of his first businesses. It was taken from him. He made some mistakes and he learned from those and improved it in the next level. And that was even, he had a couple of businesses before he started Walmart. He started Walmart when he was in his 50s. So, he learned from some mistakes and he lost some. And, you look at a lot of other successful entrepreneurs, they've started, some have closed businesses. It just didn't quite work out at that time. Many reasons why. But they don't stop. They continue with their focus. Some of them learn to say enough is enough and pivot before it's too late. So with that question that we had, it might be the right time to pivot to make that change in your business, your personal business life cycle.
Yeah, very good. I was trying to capture some of I see some other questions in the comments. Michelle, I want to help you out here. I wish I were good at distribution. I am not an expert, but I know Robert knows people in his resources that would have better input than I do on getting your product distributed in stores. I know zero about product distribution. I'm sorry about that. Tom, I sent you I included my phone number. You can text me and then we'll coordinate. I saw that you put a number in here as well. I'll try to grab that. But I want to honor the time frame that you all planned for this meeting, and I need to get to my next commitment as well. Robert, Faith, it's been a pleasure, and everybody who contributed and participated so well. I really appreciate all of you doing that. Robert, there's one more question in the Q&A, and I am going to have to leave you to try to answer that or point to resources again outside my expertise on the sales and marketing front.
So Zippy Z on that, reach out to me directly and I will guide you to some of our previous boot camps that talk about marketing and getting some of that information out. So we are right at the time. I know Brett has a hard stop, so we will go ahead and wrap up. Brett, phenomenal presentation. Thank you for being on here. We will be posting this on our content library later today or tomorrow, so let me go back and review it. But thank you for being with us today. We hope everybody has a great week and a great Memorial Day weekend, and we will see you back on June 4th. Until then, again, be safe, have fun, and work on your business while you're also working in it. So thanks, Brett, and we will see everybody soon.
Great to see you all. Take care.
Bye.